Hello everybody and welcome back to Newegg TV. I'm Steve and today I'm going to do an overview on this Barebone system from Jetway. This is the MIni-Top 601. Moving right along, here are the accessories that come inside the box. First off, I have the user's manual, which I'll open up here just to give you guys an example of what you can see inside of it, as well as all the information as to what hardware is inside this particular device. Remember guys, you are going to need to pick up a little bit of hardware for this Barebone system workout to actually be used for your own usage, but we'll get to that in just a moment. We're also getting here, or we also have the driver's CD as well, and there's some energy saving and power friendly, environmentally friendly, I guess, software that's also on this disc as well. We'll get into that also in just a moment. Aside from that, they're also providing for you the hardware installation information, which is sort of colored pictographs describing exactly how to install the different hardware that you need to install. In this particular case, SODIMM memory, as well as a 2.5-inch hard drive, and an operating system, which they actually don't provide a manual for, but that's something you guys are going to have to figure out on your own, which isn't too difficult. Also, we have some screws here for hardware to be installed, including that 2.5-inch hard drive. Here are the brackets that are used to install that. And of course, the screws that will go onto this VESA mount for the device, because you could basically get a really, really small footprint with this system just by mounting it directly on the back of your monitor. So long as you have a 100mm VESA mounting pattern, you should be able to mount this right on the back and just save a ton of room. On top of that, they're also providing for you this very small DVI to VGA adapter, allowing you to connect it to older monitors if you have that. And then we have, of course, the AC adapter and provide a power plug that's going to power the particular device. And finally, on to this Barebone system, which is the MIni-Top 601 from Jetway. So you can see it's got sort of a matte black plastic cover here. There's actually one that is removable because you do need to be able to install the SODIMMs as well as the hard drive later on in order to get this system operational. But you see it's very small. In fact, to be specific, that size is 8 inches by 7 inches by 1 inch, or in millimeters it's 205 by 185 by 30 millimeters in size. As I mentioned before, it's also very, very small footprint that will be used on your desktop. So really, if you're trying to save some space, I think this is going to solve at least that issue for you. Also, two other accessories I already attached that I wanted to mention really quickly. One is the antenna for the Wi-Fi here. That's important because obviously you need to have connectivity. It's a 1x1 because it's a single antenna for connectivity. So you're looking at 150 megabit per second maximum theoretical throughput with that 802.11 BGN mini PCIe Wi-Fi card that's installed inside. But on the bottom here you can see we have the stand, and that stand is secured by this very small screw that they provided for you. There's a bit more information down here as well about this computer, as well as its model number and serial number and things like that. Should you have any issues, you need to contact support. But I will flip around to the back here and show you a little bit about the I/O on the rear. So starting here, I have the DC-in for the power, two USB 2.0 ports. We have an eSATA USB combo port. Actually, that is not the, that is the that's the Gigabit Ethernet RJ45 plug there. And then on top of that, we have the eSATA USB combo port, DVI connector for video out, as well as HDMI 1.3, and that antenna that I mentioned before. And on the front here, we do have a very small cover that does cover over the front I/O, and you can actually pop that down and slide it in to get easy access to the things that are here. Starting first on the far left, we have an SD MMC multi-card reader, as well as two USB 2.0 ports on the front here, and an SPDIF as well as line out or headphone out here. So if you wanted to use the optical style connector, 3.5mm connector, you could do that here, as well as a standard 3.5mm stereo plug, as well as a microphone connector, 3.5mm on that as well. Power switch next to that, and then we do have an IRE, or an infrared reader, I should say, for an MCE, or Microsoft Media Center Edition remote control. Man, just tongue-tied today, guys. Sorry about that. But let's go ahead and open it up and take a closer look. All right, and so in order to remove the cover, in order to get access to the inside of the Barebone system, you can see you just move the cover backwards towards the rear I/O. Here's obviously the front of this case, and that's how you'd slide that cover directly off, exposing the inside of the 610. So as you can see, there's actually a very large copper heat pipe going through both the CPU as well as the chipset and the GPU, and a blower style fan up here just trying to get rid of excess heat. So let's go ahead and start with one thing I wanted to mention, which is that this is a very, very small unit, obviously, but it also is eco-designed for EU energy efficiency requirements, or EUP, as well as providing a lot of energy savings. So if you're in the EU and you're looking for something that qualifies for EUP, then this is going to be a product that's going to do that. On top of that, being that it's very power efficient, they had to design it that way, and why not start with the CPU? So the CPU in this particular case is extremely power efficient. It's the Intel Atom dual-core D2550 CPU. It's a 32nm process, 1.86 gigahertz processor, 1 megabyte of L2 cache, and it only puts out a 10 watts of, it's a 10 watt TDP processor, so it's putting out very little heat. On top of that, it's also using very little power. Moving right up to the chipset, this is an Intel ICH-10R chipset. And moving right along to the GPU, in this case is the NVIDIA GeForce GT 610M with 1 gigabyte of DDR3 memory. Now I'll draw your attention down to the bottom of the motherboard here, where I can show you the SODIMM slots. This is two 204-pin SODIMM slots here that will provide a maximum of up to 4 gigabytes of memory, and it's supporting DDR3 1066, and they are single channel. So keep that in mind when you're purchasing memory. And then moving to the left of the DIMMs, the DIMM slots, we do have a serial ITA Rev 2 port here, and that's going to provide the connectivity for your 2.5-inch hard drive as well as power, so you're going to get everything you need to plug into this. And then on the other side of this board, which you actually can't see, is the mini PCIe mSATA slot, and that is being utilized by an 802.11 BGN mini PCIe Wi-Fi card that's providing the Wi-Fi connectivity for this particular mini Barebones system. Also want to mention one last thing, a chip that I forgot to mention earlier, which is the Gigabyte LAN is actually being provided by Realtek's RTL8111FCG controller. And for audio, Realtek's also providing an ALC 662 5.1 channel HD audio with that optical SPDIF out. Okay guys, that's going to wrap up this overview of the Barebone system from Jetway. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to click the like button, and if you haven't already done so, click subscribe to any of our various YouTube channels, and until then, we will see you guys very soon.